This is rough. Okay. Still hear me?
Yeah, I hear
Okay.
you fine. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I got it now. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and you're recording the call. Okay, got that too. All right, so it's been nice talking to you. I'll see you next time.
Oh man, but you know what's happening right now, don't you?
I don't.
The latency is terrible.
Oh, no, this is awful. Yeah. This is why people don't use Skype anymore, Josh. Because it sucks so hard.
So hey,
Hi.
we just sat down 5 minutes ago to start talking. This is my new friend Garrett.
If by 5 minutes you mean 90 minutes, yes, that is
Jesus
exactly
Christ.
true.
Is that how long it's taken?
Yeah, just after 5 o'clock.
So if you're watching this right now, and you were among the people that were actually trying to watch this when we went live and wanted to interact and ask questions, I apologize deeply for having to do this. I don't know why we couldn't hear Garrett when we were streaming this thing live. All settings and indications on my side showed that his voice should have been coming through, and at some point you just have to give up. So now I'm recording the goddamn thing, and we'll go through this again. I'm not even going to do it. Garrett, tell the people what you do.
Hi, I'm Garrett Michael Brown. I'm an up-and-coming new audiobook narrator. Started late 2018, career change, and it's just been something I love to do. And Josh's Commune series is one of the things that really got me into wanting to do it. Yeah, and it's going along pretty well, I think, for someone who's only been doing it for 2 years.
Actually, yeah. Can I ask? I don't know if this is right or not. But I want to say I've got a memory from Facebook, and I think it's right around when the Shit Bus group launched.
Mm-hmm.
Like right about that time. It was like I think right when the second book had come out and things were starting to heat up. I'm almost certain I remember someone around that time saying they were thinking about getting into the narration business, and they were curious about it and kind of talking like, oh, I think I'm going to give it a go. Now, this is such a vague question, but was that you
that was not me?
That was not me. Okay, God,
but,
I'm almost certain I remember someone talking about that.
I'm sure somebody must have.
Okay.
But, in that case, that was not me. What I did do was, after All Gifts Bestowed, which I loved, by the way.
Thank you.
Your cover on that, someone else, when I was doing auditions on ACX, someone else had stolen that cover. Well,
that was
turns out not stolen. I thought someone stole your cover,
right.
And I thought I'd let you know. So
yeah.
Blah 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 blah.
Thanks for looking out, though. That was
of course, man.
Yeah.
I just thought you should know, and you
no,
quickly
that,
told
that
me.
Was, that cover. That was. But before I got with Athon, I used to go and hire a guy to do my own covers for my book. So I was 100% independent. It was just me and Bob. So there was like this guy who did a service where he took like stock imagery from like the Photostock or whatever, Shutterstock. Shutterstock? I don't know.
Shutterstock.
But he had like an account there, so you'd kind of say like, oh, this is what I'm looking for. Here's your base image, and line up some services, pay him fee, and he would make a really nice cover. Sure. That's where that came from. When I went over to Athon, they were going to republish my books, and they started redoing the covers, and I said, okay, that's fine. You can redo the Commune covers, but this one stays. I want to keep that because I was so proud of how it came out.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we agree. So they just kind of took it and redid the font a little so that it was more kind of unified with the other stuff that they did. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's kind of the danger of hanging on to that cover too, is that you're going to see that somewhere else anyway.
Yeah.
So you changed careers late. You were what before you started doing this?
A couple things. I've changed careers several times. I was a musical theater actor for a bunch of years here in Seattle. Yeah, here in Seattle and in New York.
So you do have a performance background then?
I do, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I went to college, communications, theater arts, all that kind of stuff. Went to New York in 2001. September 1st of 2001.
Oh.
Saved up some money, so I'm going to do a bunch of auditions, and then 10 days later, 9/11 happened, and Broadway disappeared.
Yeah.
So timing.
Yeah, right.
So kind of struggled there for a couple of years, came back to Seattle, did pretty well, realized I was never going to be able to do anything really, trying to just be a musical theater actor in Seattle. It's just, it's just not, I did not want an actor's life anymore. I reached that point in my life. I was getting married. I wanted to have kids, wanted to have a house, all that kind of stuff. And there's just no solidity in that at all. So decided I got the great idea to go into kitchen work because there's a lot of money in that.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of money.
Oh.
So
what, being a chef?
Yeah. Chefed it out for about 15 years here in Seattle. And then circumstances changed and I was able to do this thing that I've wanted to do since I was probably 10. I used to sit at my parents' house, obviously, I have this memory of sitting at the wet bar because it was a house that was built in 1973, and in California they all had to have wet bars, apparently. And
yeah, my parents' house has a wet bar.
There you go.
He installed it himself. My dad.
Yeah. But I used to sit there with my little Fisher Price tape recorder and read books into it just because I thought it was fun.
So okay. So there's always been like this desire to perform.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and so one, like a little off the subject, but I was just curious. So in the restaurant business or as a chef or in hospitality, is it true then that you kind of have to open your own restaurant to make like a comfortable living from it? Or is that like,
oh no, that's the opposite of true.
So you starve in that case as well then, or
you starve worse.
Wow.
Because you're seeing everybody else. No, opening up a restaurant is, boy, it's something I really wanted to do for the first 5 years, and then you learn real quick that it's the owners of the restaurants who actually suffer more than everybody else because they have to pay everybody else.
Yeah.
And restaurant owners tend not to get paid for 5-10 years, and it's a rough biz.
You're just right debt that whole time too, aren't you?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Wow. Yeah, my mom's cousin, they opened a restaurant, very good, successful restaurant, Italian.
Cool.
Cooking. My mom Italian.
Fantastic.
And they made fantastic food, but their staff, I guess, they were not good managers. They didn't hire the right people, so they got robbed blind. And I guess they just, that was the thing they did for a while.
It happens. It is a rough business. It's why you can't, and you almost have to be independently wealthy to get into it in the first place because no bank gives you loans. So it's, at least these days.
Probably because they know how hard it is.
Yeah. It's really true. Most restaurants fail within 2 years for reasons.
Yeah. So you cracked it out there for a while, and then just what is that inspiration where you went data? I mean, I'm looking at your setup right now, man. It's a cool rig.
Thank you.
I was kind of wondering, like, what is it? So where does he go? You get studio time? Did you build your own? Did you? So when you decide, because I've kind of been in your situation a couple of times now, where it's like you decide I want to go do like some completely random ass thing this way, and then you have to explain it to your wife, right? So that, like, when you decide, I think I'm going to go for it. Do you then go out to like Home Depot and build this tricked out sound chamber, or how?
No,
explain the direction there.
Sure. This thing's brand new. I've had it for less than a month. I was in my wife's closet for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. But it worked. I've only recorded one book in here so far, and it hasn't even been published yet. So all the work I've done up till now that people seem to enjoy, it was all in a closet.
And in the closet was was the clothing in there enough to muffle sound?
Oh yeah,
that's fantastic.
My wife's closet. Yeah, there's plenty of clothes in there. It was perfect baffling. I actually had to add some more stuff in here, sound baffling, just to equal what I could get in there.
Yeah, it's the sound even over this Skype thing it's really nice and even. It's very clean.
Thank you very much.
Just from what you're picking up in there. So
thank you.
So you were doing it in your wife's closet.
Yeah.
And when you started, So that was your daughter I met. It seems like so long ago now.
I mean, it's an hour and a half, so yeah, it's pretty long.
So she was around when you started.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
and so the wife says, "Okay, I'm going to manage this young one. You go and do this for however long." She sounds like an incredible woman.
She is yeah, incredible is a good starting point.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I'd have none of this without her. No, my family life is fantastic. My kids are great. No, my wife is incredibly supportive. For a while, I was doing cooking in the morning and early afternoon, and then doing this in the afternoon, the late afternoon, evening. And no, she was all on board with me, just going full in, jumping in full steam. She believed in me, and I could not have done any of this without her.
I went and listened to a few of your samples on audio. You're very good.
Oh, thank you, John.
It's
I appreciate that very, very much.
I've listened to a few narrators. I've listened to those who I thought were the best. Right. I've been blessed to work with them.
Yes, you have.
And I've also listened to narrator. I won't say their names, but I've listened to narrators where it's like I can't listen to this book.
Yeah.
And especially if it's an author that I really enjoy, you get angry like, oh, they got this guy, which I try not to have that reaction, but there are some performances they simply cannot sit through, and it's a shame, but that's the way it is.
Oh, totally.
But the best narrators I've found, if I could pontificate like an asshole for a moment,
by all means, I'm gonna grab some.
They seem to me to be the ones that know when to disappear, and then also when to stand out. When it's really necessary. Because you can't be chewing scenery through the entire book.
No, it gets exhausting.
Sometimes you just have to find a good rhythm and go with it. But then there's points where you really do shine. And you could tell, like, there's people that have had training in performances and they know that. It's I don't know if it's instinctive or what. But I don't know, I think a lot of people must believe that it's easy to do. It's not.
It is not. No, you cannot sit in a closet for 6 hours a day for several months in a row recording a single book and not really, really want to do it and not really understand that it is difficult. Yeah.
And you simply cannot, you can't just sit down and start reading.
No.
It's like reading Shakespeare in a high school class.
Yeah.
Stab my ears out. There has to be some flair of the dramatic and a performance. And, I've, like I said, in the clips that I've got now, I've decided, look, I've got to go and get like books that he's done now.
Oh, thank you. I'll send you some codes.
Check out. Well, I don't need codes. I'm fine. Trust me. The amount of credits that have stacked up. Yeah. Well, we've all been homebound over the last year. It's ridiculous. I have an embarrassment of riches in Audible credits.
That's awesome.
That's fine. But no, I think you did some work for Craig DeLuey, didn't you?
Yeah, I sure did. That guy.
That was that's a big one.
That's
right.
Huge. Yeah. I first, let's go back just a little bit, because I want to give credit where it's due. There was a couple books that I started out with, and everyone starts on ACX, which is, for those who don't know, it's yeah, there you go. I think Bob started there. Like, most people seem to have started there these days. Mm-hmm. It's one of those where an Amazon company that pairs up new authors with new narrators and auditioning and scripts and stuff like that, and you just go from there. So I did a couple books on there that were okay, and then networking has been fantastic. So I networked with this guy on the 50 Shades of Grey page. So I've met a couple authors on there, actually.
Those are really the places to hang out if you want to be in this business. It's
absolutely. So I did a series with Jeremy Spires called Ashes of Eternity, and we just got nominated as a finalist for the Independent Audiobook Awards for sci-fi for the first one of that series.
Congratulations! That's insane.
Thank you. Trust me, I know. I'm in there with Bray and Jeffrey Kafer.
Well, no, I've got one of those hanging on my wall up here.
I know.
I won it with Bob for Commune too. So like I things started taking off for you very quickly.
Yeah,
Kind of like
kinda.
they started taking off for me very quickly. Like,
I'm gonna follow you as a roadmap then, because I like where you're going.
well, no, but I'm saying like I went and looked at your catalog of work, and it's like you said, there's a few books down there, and it's like those are that's kind of where you get your sea legs, right?
Exactly.
There's
Paying the dues.
I'm looking at them. It's like, okay, there's 5 reviews. There's like 12 reviews there, and how long's it been out? It's like, okay, but that's where you get set. That's you kind of hit the ground, you get that
Yeah.
grind going, and then next thing you know, it's like you get up to the top, and there's suddenly it's like, oh, he's working with these big names.
Yeah.
Somebody
So
somewhere recognized some talent, and
yeah.
then
Thank you.
once you get that first book where it's like, shit, look at that review count, look at all the ratings, look at all of the kind things that listeners have to say about that performer. It's like, that's got to open up some doors, doesn't it?
It seems to be.
Yeah.
But
Very good.
thank you. In that same vein, yeah, Craig DeLuey. Um, if anyone out there has not heard of him, how? Um, so he did the Crash Dive series. He and I did an Armor series together. I just finished another book for him for Blackstone, my first with them, and that's called Aviator, about the theoretically fictitious American-China war
Mhm.
over Taiwan, which, if you're following news these days, might not be so fictitious anymore. But yeah, but yeah, no, it really took off. Craig is that dude is a phenomenal person.
Mm.
He's just great. I don't know how I talked him into letting a literally nobody like me
Yeah.
take on a series, like a 5 book series for him. I don't know,
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah,
explain how
auditions
that
and
worked. Like, how did
sure.
you meet him? How were you able to position yourself in front of this guy?
I sent same way with you, man. I just sent
Oh,
him a
geez.
message on Facebook. That was it.
Well, he sounds like a stand-up guy.
He is, yeah. So I
Damn.
introduced myself and said, if you ever have any work or if you know of anybody, it honestly, it's all the same stuff you do when you're an actor, right? Like, so from years and years ago, it's just networking and meeting people, and like, 'cause you
Put
don't
yourself
know who
out
you
there.
don't know, you
Yeah.
don't know who they know, so you're nice to everybody, and you're just reaching out and being aggressive about it, and not waiting for things to come to you, but actually trying and taking the risk. That's the
Mhm.
biggest thing. It's taking that risk, which I'm sure you know all about. It's it's hope knowing that you can do something and wanting to prove it to other people and hoping they're going to respond in a positive manner. So, but you
Yeah.
got to put yourself out there and be afraid and be vulnerable. Don't be afraid to get rejected, because
Yeah.
it's going to happen a lot. I've been rejected so many times, um, and but you just keep at it, and you learn and you move on, and you learn which authors you want to work with and what kind of work you want to work on, and what kind of voices you're comfortable doing, and
Hmm.
keep working at your craft. Keep pushing the accents, keep working on characterizations, and looking at motivations and things like that.
Yeah, and if I could add on to what you said too, when you're talking about the rejections you get, uh, my God, my own experience. Now,
Do tell. I haven't heard this one.
well, what's funny about it for me, I think, is that all the rejections came after I got big. So that's like something that people should keep in mind. And anybody watching, oh, I want to be a writer one day. You think, oh, you get your first big whatever, and then suddenly, oh, well, everybody will listen to him. No, that's not how it works at all.
Not at all.
No.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to go through a bunch of rejection slips and no's and piss off when I wrote the first book I ever wrote. Like I kind of did the whole thing in reverse. Most people, it's like they have to struggle at it for years and years, and
Yeah.
maybe you get some recognition. It's like a slog, right?
Sure. 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 Sure.
So me, I write my first book ever. Don't really bother to hire an editor. Just kind of like did some editing myself. So, okay, that's about what that book ought to be.
Yeah.
Put it together and said, and threw it up on Amazon. And
That wasn't commune.
yeah,
Get the fuck out of here. Are you
yeah.
serious?
Yeah, the
That was your
first book.
first book?
Yes.
Oh my lord.
Yeah. So I very casually, flippantly wrote the thing, and it wasn't really until like I ended that book that I kind of had a sense of what I could grow it into,
Yeah.
if I wanted to. So what happened was, well, let me step back. I wrote
Sure.
it, and it was like really, it was rough. Okay.
Hmm.
Then once I got to the end, I kind of stepped back from it and thought, now what are you going to do with this, right? Um, and it was about that point where I was getting ready to do the second one. And I like when I finished the first one, I was like, shit, I should write another one. you know, the first book was essentially an experiment to see if I could write a book.
Well, it worked.
So I put that book out, right? And then in the middle of that, I don't know, I don't want to go through the story again, but the way I met Bob, do you know it? Have you heard it?
I have not. No.
Oh shit. Okay, well I'll go through it.
Please, if you
Sorry.
don't mind, I'd love to hear it.
This
Yeah.
is your interview. Now I'm just gonna run my mouth.
Do it.
Okay, sorry.
No, don't be.
Really quick, I was a fan of Bob Bray's right around when I'd started writing. Big inspirations for me.
Oh yeah.
Starting to write my book was The Martian and Keith C. Blackmore, the Mountain Man series. Big inspiration going into Commune. He Bob decided I'm going to do a Reddit Ask Me Anything, and at that very same time, what I was thinking about was, okay, I've got this book, I've published it, I need to find a way to make it into an audiobook because that's how I stand out from the herd.
Sure.
I knew very well there were just a shit zillion people releasing ebooks and all kinds of crap on Amazon every day, every second of every day. So it's like there's got to be some way for you to get out ahead of that. So I figured, okay, I'm going to do an audiobook, but I didn't know how to do it. So in the Ask Me Anything, it was like all the information that you gave at the start of this. So I went to ACX, did this. That's what Bob gave me. I asked him, if I wanted to do an audiobook, how would I go around it? And he'd say, oh, he's on the Reddit. He said, that's a big question with a lot of details, and this isn't the right place for it. Here's my email address. Email me outside of this, and we'll talk. Which I was, like, that was enough. That was all he had to do. I was so gratified that he went that far. So I sent him an email. And he basically ran down how ACX worked. What I didn't realize was that in the middle of all that, while he's talking to me, he goes and buys the book on Amazon and then reads the first couple of chapters. So at the end of the evening, we have a few back and forth in email where he explains how ACX works and what I should do. Oh, thank you. The next morning, I wake up and there's an email from Bob that says, "Don't worry about auditioning narrators. I want to do the Commune series."
That's awesome.
So it was kind of like what Craig did for you, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, and that's kind of why I do stuff like this. Like,
Sure.
Dude, come hang out with me. Come talk, because
so awesome.
The more I can help others and get their name out there, kind of get them spread around, it's like better for everybody.
I appreciate it very much.
So, but getting back to my, I can run my
Do
mouth.
it, man. Yeah.
Be careful. But to the original point, Commune series comes out. It's big. It's immediately big in ways that most book series are not for independent guys who just decide one day, oh, I'm going to put this book up. It's not like 50 Shades of Grey or Twilight big.
Thank God.
Which is fine with me. I don't want to be that big. I really don't. But it's big enough, man. It exceeds all my hopes, dreams, and expectations. Fantastic. So then, Bob and I like working with each other. He says, "Hey, man, anytime you want to do a book, just give me a shout. And we'll do it through Blue Heron." So at that point, I'm thinking, well, hell, I can do this independently for as long as I want to, and that's fine. I was also thinking at the time that if anything happened to Bob, and I don't mean to be morbid, but I mean he at some point he could just decide, hey, you know what, I'm retiring. I don't want to do this anymore. I've made enough money. It's like, oh, okay, well, I don't have a narrator anymore. I thought maybe I better start taking steps to kind of establish myself. So I start reaching out to publishers.
Mhm.
At first, not knowing what the hell I was doing, traditional publishers, and then, oh, maybe I need an agent. I'll contact, and it was always the same thing. It's like, look, I wrote these books. They're doing really well, and I would share my sales numbers from the audiobooks, because they would climb the charts and sit at like all these top numbers.
Oh
So
man,
I would like that's what I would share. I wouldn't do
I'm
a
so
book
happy
pitch or
for you.
anything.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do a book pitch. I'd say, listen, I've got some ideas for other books. I've got these books here that are like independent, but you know, if you'd like the rights to them, let's talk. And look, here's the numbers. I've sold this many books with no marketing,
Mhm.
just being a random ass idiot and throwing it
Yeah.
up. And I can only imagine they would probably do better with the marketing and expertise if you're fine people behind it. What are your thoughts? And like everybody was like, "Who's this asshole? Fuck off,
Yeah.
moron." Oh,
What do you
okay.
know? You're only a best-selling
Yeah. Oh,
author.
yeah, dude. Man, rejection. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I just thought, oh, okay. Well, that's that old boys club that I'm not going to get into. Then fine.
Yeah.
And then Athon came around later, and I
They're great.
lucked out, hooked
They're
up with
great.
them. Sure. Can you hear my dogs right now?
I can.
Yeah, I might have to go down there and see how they're doing. Whether you're starting out and virtually unknown, or you've actually made a splash, it's like still
It's not easy.
you're gonna get rejected
Yeah.
all over the place.
And that's okay. You should go into expecting you should go into it expecting that. Because for the most part, like especially in my position anyway, authors know what they like. They know what they want. They know what the characters are supposed to sound like in their head. It's not always realistic, but they know what they want.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just not, in fact, I would say usually it's just not what, if I don't sound the way this person's supposed to sound, yeah, you're not going to hire me. That's no worries. I don't, you just can't take that personally and just move on to the next one because one of them is going to work.
Okay, so yeah, we were going to talk about your experiences, like creating the account and
Sure.
the first gig that you landed.
Sure. So I made mistakes, as you do when you first start out. First, I'm just going to get out of the way and say I got in a really, really lucky time before the pandemic. Because a lot of people, once they started working from home and maybe got laid off, a lot of people got laid off. This whole thing's been such a shit show.
Mm-hmm.
But they thought, oh, I'm at home. I can do this thing that I've always loved cartoons and I've always wanted to do this thing. So I'm going to be a voice actor / narrator.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically just ripped apart ACX at this point.
So
There's
it's
just
like
so many people trying to get into it now.
there's a glut.
There's a glut. Yeah. So like you said, a lot of people think they will be good at it, and some for sure will, and some will be okay, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But the chance of getting a decent book on there is a little sketch. I just said sketch. I don't know why.
It's fine.
Just dumb.
Look, we both have kids.
Yeah. Or bourbon. That helps.
Yeah. That'll do it, man. Next time I have to go downstairs, I'll grab a bottle of wine or something.
There you go. But it was, so you create the account, you do some samples, you buy other equipment. There's enough people doing it now on Amazon. You just say, I want to be an audiobook narrator. So you need this. So you just buy all the things. And, you look for books and you see what you think you're going to, well, let's take it more basic. Mm-hmm. So authors will post on ACX and say what they're looking for, what kind of book it is, what they're going to pay, and they'll give you a little, audition script, and you record it and you send it in. And 9 times out of 10 they say no, and then every now and then you get lucky.
Yeah.
So I got lucky. I got 2 right out of the gate. I should have looked at them a little better before I took the jobs, but so I ended up returning one just because it was just a complete mess. Like there was no editing happening.
Oh.
I would have had to edit the book and proofread it and all that before I recorded it, and I just was not in any sort of position to do that. So It's okay. It's okay unless you want to use them as an excuse for some bourbon or wine, then that's cool too. Oh wait, yeah, take your time.
Oh, lay down.
Now you're talking.
I give up. I give up. Come here, boy.
It's a little live stream that could, buddy.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Come here. Come here. Oh, Jesus. So this is my son's dog.
Hey, buddy.
It's a Havanese moron. No, come here. Come here. Stay here. No, step you, moron. Come back here. Come on. Come on. Come on. It's like herding kittens. You two, this way. Come on. Come on, Paycheck. Come on. Son of a bitch.
Wait, his name's actually Paycheck? So his name's actually Paycheck?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were kidding. That's hysterical.
No, I'm not. I'm not kidding. That's his goddamn name.
That's really funny.
I got him from my son. That was his Christmas present. He wanted. We have another dog already that has been around since he was like 3, and she was a rescue from a pound. I always get my dogs from pounds.
Yeah.
But my son is wildly allergic to any kind of animals, their dander, their hair and so forth. And the Havanese is supposedly a hypoallergenic critter. They don't have fur; they have hair.
Is it working okay so far? Is he working okay?
Yeah, I mean, he still gets a little sneezy and itchy around him, but he does seem to be able to tolerate this dog a lot more than others. Like some other animals, like he's a wreck.
Yeah.
If he can't be anywhere near horses, we took him to medieval times once. It was a disaster.
I think he and my sister are related because the exact same issues. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, he's fine. She's good. They might take a piss. I don't care.
What are you drinking?
Huh?
What are you drinking?
Oh, this is just some cheap ass Blackstone Chardonnay. It's what I have. I don't drink a lot, but sometimes I'll do it when I get together for these things.
There you go.
Oh, that is cheap. All right. Yeah, that's why we have the dogs tonight. I'll have to edit this out later. We'll get back.
I figured.
We'll get back to the interview, but yeah, I sent my wife and kid to Hawaii. They just got there today.
Oh,
so
congratulations to them. And
yeah,
you.
So now I'm watching
it. That's awesome.
Damn dogs. I was just thinking, like, this has been the most chaotic one of these that I've ever done, and I think it's probably because
me.
No,
it's me. Honest to God,
because I have nobody here to watch all this stuff. Look, now my wife is called. See this? See this? Chaos.
That's amazing.
Hello. Oh, she hung up. She hangs up too. Okay, so the fuck were we talking about? Yes, okay, so the first your first few gigs on ACX. I'm so sorry.
Oh, don't be at all. You're good.
Good Lord.
Yeah. First few we're not great. But they rarely are right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's just ways to get like you said, get your feet wet, learn what you're doing, learn how to sit and listen to your own voice for 16 hours, which is a thing. Because I love listening to other people's voices. I can't stand my own voice. So sitting there and listening to the whole thing while I'm trying to edit it out and proofread the whole thing, it takes some getting used to.
Yeah. Do you find you have to take breaks or break your sessions up when you're doing it, or?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I can't do more than like 4 or 6 hours at a throw.
More than 4 or 6 hours at a throw is what he said. Stop it. These animals. This is.
We can totally pause and do this later. It's cool. This is fine. It's not an issue at all.
Well, I think I'm going to sit back and just bullshit with you, and maybe we get something we can use at this point. All right.
Dr. fucking Doolittle in here.
My God.
It is okay. Oh, totally.
So after that, you reach out to Craig. I guess that really gets you moving.
It gets moving. Yeah.
And then, like, did you start? Did you step from that to Aethon? Then is that what the next move is now?
Yeah. I actually worked with a coach for a little bit, Peter Burkrot. He's been in
Oh,
the
okay.
industry forever. Um, Sorry, Peter, it's not in any way an insult. You just have been in forever. Which is a good thing, which is why, I mean, really, he's sort of the godfather of this whole thing. He really is. He's
Really?
incredibly talented, that man.
I mean, I see his name all over the place, and I'm just I'm ignorant. I don't know much of anything
Oh,
about my own industry.
he was in Caddyshack, so he's been around a
Oh,
while.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah. But yeah, did some work with him, and then he knows Rhett and Steve over at Aethon, made the intro, and now I'm doing a series for them right now. I'm working on the book number 2.
That's
Called
awesome.
God Chosen.
How are you liking that?
It's good. It's a fantasy kind of thing
Mhm.
that I haven't done fantasy before, but I like Tolkien and like everything else. So
I think
it's fun.
the tough thing about fantasy is I think it kind of becomes a stereotype that it's always the British accent that's narrating the things.
Exactly.
But I like the feeling of a fantasy, but read with an American accent, or I guess I would, for my ears alone, it would be the non-accent of an American accent. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, I completely understand what you mean.
I think it.
Unfortunately.
Oh well, I think it just puts a different flavor on what the story is. But unfortunately, what?
This was all accents. I had to do
Oh my
British.
God!
The main character was Scottish from the Highlands, so it is like that's a lot. And then he has a son, and I'm sorry, his father is Irish,
Mm-hmm.
his mother is Scottish. He's Scottish. He goes to France, so a lot of French accents, and then there's some what they call Garmians, but really Germans in there. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a whole plethora of fun accents. Not
So
other than my own, like the narrator voice of, well, and then this happened on this day. That was American, but everything else was
well,
accents.
yeah, but I think you've got a voice that lends itself to that genre, though.
Oh,
It's
thanks.
well, it's like with Bob. He's fantastic, but he's also kind of slotted like right into a genre.
Yeah.
Especially I think I don't know. I haven't been able to keep up with his body of work lately. I mean, he's putting so much stuff out. It's like
Yeah.
I can't keep
Prolific
up.
doesn't cover it. It's
Yeah, I
amazing.
know. I
To do. Amazing.
I used to be able to go down and like list all the shit that he was currently working on and had
Mhm.
recently put out. And it's like, nah, I'm not even trying at
Yeah.
this point. I don't even
Yeah.
bother. Uh, but for a while there, I think he was kind of pigeonholed as like, hard boiled private detective, gumshoe type.
Yeah.
Or also, a voice that's fantastic for post apocalyptic work.
Yeah.
Like, duh, right?
And sci-fi. His
But yeah,
Expeditionary Force stuff is incredible.
yeah. But then, like if I go and write, well, there was a book that I wrote about, like teenagers, like the principal characters were all teens,
Hmm.
and they had to sound young
Okay.
and I don't want to say foolish, but naive,
Mhm.
and getting gunny thick to do young and naive.
Yeah, not so much.
It's like I can't do this to this poor guy. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, it seems like, and I don't want to, I don't think I'm going to describe it as range, but it seems like you've got like soft voice, you've got deep and gravelly, and you've got like this nice midpoint where I think
You're killing
you
me.
can.
Thank you so much.
Well, no, it seems like you could move to either side of that bell curve and operate in those spaces without having to be stuck there.
Do you know what this means that I'm hearing you, Joshua Gayou, say this to me? It's incredible.
I don't know what it's worth. Okay,
It's so much.
I know
Like
about
so
writing.
much.
I know about writing books. I don't know about audio production or any the technicalities or even really the art that goes into your business. I know what I hear and what I think,
Mm-hmm.
but dude, I've been wrong so many times about what I thought was appropriate for anything in this business specifically, where I thought, oh, this is how it works, or oh, this will work, or uh, uh I've had my ass handed to me enough times now where it's like I don't know anything,
Yeah.
obviously.
It's well, I can tell you. Uh, I mean, it wouldn't mean anything if people didn't respect you, but I respect you so highly for what you've accomplished and what you've done and the influence you've had on not just narrators like me, but I'm sure tons of authors out there you're really wanting to take, oh, I guarantee you, and then wanting
I
to,
don't
to
know.
take a leap and try it. But your stuff, it encourages that somehow. I don't exactly know how, other than it's just phenomenal stuff.
I I
So it
hope
means
so.
it means the world to me that someone who's as influential and humble apparently um thinks that of me is means the world to me. Thank you.
Eh, and the word influential gives me a panic attack. Is what it gives me.
Oh, I
Well,
have my own Bob story.
that's very kind of you to say. And
Yeah.
yes, tell me that story, please.
Okay, sorry. Didn't mean to. I talked over you. I apologize.
No, 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 no.
Uh, so that very first book that I published, was a Carolyn Arnold piece, City of Gold or something,
Okay.
and it was it was fine. It was my first one, and Bray has this bit on his website called My Two Cents, and he's like basically giving advice to people like me, saying,
Yes.
this is what you can do, but you got to be able to do this. The best thing he has on there is sit in the bathroom or a closet with a book and read out loud for an hour, see if you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. When people ask me, I say the same thing now. It makes sense. But yeah, so I had asked him a long time ago. I was just a fanboy and like sent stuff to say, hey, is this, I'm thinking about getting into it. And he was, all supportive. And then that first book came out. So I sent him just a thank you, saying, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have done this without you. Here's the
Yeah.
listing for it. It means the world to me that you've influenced me in this way, and that you said anything to me in the past. The dude goes to Audible, downloads the sample, listens to it, and then sends me critiques on it.
Really?
It
He
was
sent
amazing.
you.
Yeah. Like I literally sat on my couch and cried. Like, this is my hero, and he's sending me critiques and compliments on what I've always wanted to get into. It's just
Yeah.
it's I don't know.
He's got that effect though. I mean, he's the he I love that he took the time to do that for you. I don't think I can explain how profoundly he's affected my life.
Same.
Uh, just you know, just by saying, "Oh yeah, let's do this book."
Yeah.
And for him, at the time it was really nothing.
Mhm.
It grew into something for the both of us, but at the moment it was just like, "Oh yeah, I like those two chapters." And I'll do this book. And we'd we'd since talked about it, and he said, I figured I'd get your foot in the door at the very most. But if it turned out I didn't like the book or I didn't like the series, hey, there's your book, buddy. You enjoy that, and then I back out and go do other things.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that would have been shit. That would have been fine, honestly.
Yeah.
if that's what you decided it was going to be, it's like, hey, I understand. But one of the things that he told me, and it's like that same kind of that feeling. I suppose that I just gave to you, but
You did.
he he it got to a point where I think we were working on the fourth commune book. And in the middle of recording it, he sends me an email one day, and he says, "Dude, this book is your White Album, like
Nice.
Beatles." And I
Yeah.
and I said, "Thank you. That very gratified that you're enjoying it."
Yeah.
And then it was like right around there where he sent me an email and says, "Listen, anytime you want to do a book, you let me know, and we'll do it. I don't care.
Cool.
We'll do it. We'll do it through publisher. We'll do it through my own publishing company. I don't give a shit.
Mhm.
So, that was amazing. And I guess it is. It's that same feeling where somebody's decided whatever it is that you're doing, it's good enough that they want to be a part of it.
Mhm.
And even like with like All Gifts Bestowed, he didn't really like the book. He didn't get it. But he was like, I don't care. It was still a joy to read.
Yeah.
he was like, that was fine. So yeah, it's like that.
And there was joy in the performance. You could hear that. Like he might not have understood it or liked it, but
Yeah,
it definitely, this joy of the actual words on the page and the flow and the beats and the characterizations, that all came through perfectly.
yeah, and so much of that is just his instinct. Like he doesn't really prepare for these things. he's he's got such high and fast output, and it's like
Yeah.
people. Oh, do you read the book before you perform it to get a sense of the characters? And I just, fuck, please. Half the time, like if we're doing a book series together,
Yeah.
I'll get an email from him where he's like, "Hey, remind me, Mitch, which one was this character?" And I have to send him like, "Here, it's this right here. This is what
Yeah.
we discussed." He's like, "Oh yeah, okay, right."
Sure. I do the same
Then
thing
he
with
just
Jeremy. Yeah.
goes in there and does it, and
Yeah.
it's like, fuck, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's a hell of a talent. The guy's become a gravity well of audiobook talent on his own. Just like he's pulling us all into his orbit. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, uh, definitely. He leaves his own wake.
And we've spent the last 10 minutes talking about it. So yeah, there's
Yeah,
something there.
I don't think that I can emphasize that enough. How much it is performance and instinct. What
Yeah.
you guys do. Like I've had my own readers tell me, just listening to me on this thing when I
Mhm.
when I do streams or whatever, they're like, oh man, you got a great voice. You
Yep.
you should be narrating books too. And it's no.
It's two different things.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe I sound nice to listen to right now, but my wife has said, "Oh yeah, if I'm dealing with insomnia, just read a book to me." It's because
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just this flat, and there's probably no life to me because there's I think and tell me if I'm right here. Maybe
Okay.
I'm completely have this wrong, but I think there must be a piece of yourself just agreeing to be silly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's part of the whole vulnerable thing. You have to
Giving
be able to be
giving yourself
vulnerable.
permission
Yeah.
to really open up and maybe because you're sitting in a closet,
Mhm.
you got a bunch of foam boobies pointed right at your face,
Yeah.
but there's a
It's a
point where it's
ridiculous
like
thing to do.
you
It's
have to
ridiculous.
you have to put all that aside and become some character, and it's
Yeah.
like I shit, I couldn't do that. It's
It's
amazing.
it's a ridiculous thing to do. And you have to be able to be vulnerable. It helps to have some training. It helps to have a lot of practice talking about things in front of other people.
Yeah.
Um, and just being able to get out of your own way and be in the moment of the work. I had a coach before Peter here in Seattle named Susanna. She's a phenomenal woman. And she actually did a lot of and actually where I got started too, the very, very beginning was recording books for the Washington Talking Book and Braille Library. So
Wow.
they'll sort
Okay.
of teach you the basics on what to do, like logistically with a computer and what to do
Hmm.
with a microphone and things. And she would coach in there. So we had our own private lessons. And for her, it was all about the work, and it's about getting yourself and your mind out of the way, allowing yourself to be vulnerable and open to critique, and just being in the moment with the work, which sounds so cliche, but that's exactly what you have to do to be
Yes.
there, to do it right.
Yeah. I think especially having gotten into the business of writing books
Mhm.
and trying to write stories a certain kind of way. Uh, I've gained a newfound respect for people who open themselves up like that visually,
Mm.
or well, I guess from a performance, right? Like what I do isn't a performance. What I do is I sit down and I get to write, and then I get to go back and correct it. I get to tune it up, make it sound better. If there's something I don't know, I have all the time in the world to go research and learn about it. So everybody can have the illusion that whoever wrote this story is smart,
Yeah.
which maybe he's not. Maybe he's just really good at Google, right? But like that's all these advantages that I have. Uh, but in your case, there is the art is the performance, and as you're doing it, like you're instinctively making choices on the fly as you go, and then like somebody has to come back and tell you, yeah, you nailed it, or this is completely porked and we got to do it again. This is all wrong, and it's I have gained working with Bob, talking to others, like
Mhm.
insight and respect into that,
Yeah.
and it's a hell of a thing.
It's
I'm
it's
I'm
yeah.
I'm impressed by people who can do it.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. On the flip side, I don't know how you sit down and research and write a novel. Like I couldn't do that. There's just no way.
Oh,
Google or no, there's no way
it's
that's
just
happening
work.
or coming out of my body.
It's just work. I
And it's the same for me.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just work.
I
It's just a
think
different kind of work.
I think a part of it there's like natural talent, right?
Sure.
So I mean, it's not like you were a chef and your calling was food, or you went to New York, you made some bones out there, and then after a while okay, this isn't working. I've got to go do this now. I've got to find a path. But there was like always that passion. There was always that raw talent there.
Yeah.
You weren't a tax attorney, and then one day I think I need a side hustle, right?
No.
And from my perspective, I've been good with words. From young man and on, I like to read. I love books. I have a lot of books. I've read a lot of different, all over the place stuff, and I think that puts a certain talent in place. And if you have that, that gets you a pretty good step of the way. It's like all the basics that I think a lot of people struggle with are just taken care of.
Right.
And then after that, what you really have to worry about is the discipline side of things. Because
Yeah.
are people who are artistic, or at least a little, we're kind of fucking flaky, or we can be.
Can be.
It's like, okay, I've got these grand ideals of what I want to do, and my target's way up there, and then you take a couple of steps. It's like, yeah, but you know what? Cheese puffs.
Yeah. I was gonna say Batman, but yeah, exactly the
What?
same.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Batman's
Whatever.
on. I'm just gonna do
Whatever
this.
the distraction is.
Yeah,
Whatever it is.
exactly.
Pizza. Pizza sounds good right now. I don't need
Oh
to
yeah.
be pizza right now. And it was the part of me being the white collar, uh, boring ass engineer for years. And I've 20 years now actually
Hey, congratulations.
in the business. I just got my 15 with my current company.
Fantastic.
But in that profession, you produce thousands of pages of documentation.
Yeah. I
And
bet.
after you've done that for like a whole career, you think, okay, well, I don't know, a 100,000 word book, that's fine. I can do that. Shit. All
Yeah,
I've
but you
got
gotta
to do
make that
is,
up though.
yeah, all I got to do is sit down and just go for uh, a couple of hours every morning, and eventually a book will appear. You just have to keep adding to it, and eventually there's something there.
Well, that's part of it though. You have to keep at it. So many
Yes.
people don't.
I
And
think
it's yeah,
that's the biggest problem for most people. I
yeah.
think that most people have really cool ideas. I think a lot of people have a really good idea of what they want their story to be,
Mhm.
or at least what kind of stories they like, and that they could build something that kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
But there's a point where they don't have the as in your case, they don't have the tools to bring it all together. And
Mhm.
and I think that part of my grown up profession, a lot of that has prepared me for this. It's prepared me how to take really big complex projects and then break them down into manageable parts.
Yeah.
You work in avionics, man. You're doing projects that last for like 10 years, and they're complex and they have a lot of moving parts and stuff.
Hmm.
That's how my brain works. That's easy. So yeah, but it's a bunch of bullshit about me.
No, no, I was actually while we're having this discussion, have you ever thought of doing a podcast? An interview podcast?
So I do sometimes.
Oh, you
That's
do? Okay, great.
that's kind of what this is right now, right?
Oh, good. Yeah.
Like
I
when
guess
this
it just
is
meant on more of a formal level, like once a week or once every couple of weeks with different people or authors or narrators or whatever,
oh
because you're really good at it.
oh thank you. Jesus Christ. Well, it's probably because I'm not good at interviewing. I'm just good at bullshitting with people. But
That's the best interviews.
uh
The best interviews are interviews that don't feel like interviews.
I would love to. The problem is always going to be time.
Yeah.
So as a writer, two jobs essentially, right?
Yeah.
I got books that I'm on the hook to produce. I've got this gig as an engineer that takes up 8 hours every day or
Yeah.
more, depending on what the project is. I got a family that wants to see my ugly face when I'm done doing what I do at the end of every day. Uh, and it's having a weekly show that I'm having to keep prepared for on a regular basis. That's a big ask.
That is a big ask.
It's,
Yeah.
that's a lot to do. If one of those other jobs went away, then I probably would. But I think right now there's enough on my plate,
Yeah.
and
That's a good reason.
the where well, and where I'm at right now, I'm in good enough shape with the family that they'll let me do this like irregularly every once
Got
in a
it.
while. Like I kind of start ramping up doing these when I'm in between a book, and I'm just about ready to finish the World Ship series. I've got like another week
Congratulations.
writing. Thank you. That's going to be nice to have over. But I
I
got I
bet.
got like another week of writing that, and then I'll be like in between, and I'm starting up this new commune project.
Yeah, I was going to congratulate you about that. That's fantastic with Devin. That's
Yeah,
so
I
cool.
think it's going to be fun. It's going to be real fun. But when I'm in between like big projects like that, I like to do a few of these just to kind of limber up and do something else for a while.
Sure.
So I'm not thinking about oh god, let's construct a story, let's build some characters, all the boring shit that readers don't want to know about. They just want the
Mhm.
story.
Yeah.
So I get a period where I do like a flurry of these, and my wife is really cool about it. But then it's like, okay, you get that done out of the way, you get down, do some more, write another book for I don't know, 5 6 months, however long it takes,
Wow.
and
That is a lot.
yeah. Well, I mean, once you kind of figure out your rhythm,
Yeah.
you can go. So, in your case now, so you're doing Athon. You've got some Blackstone stuff.
Yeah, just finished Aviator 1 with Blackstone. That should come out in the next month, I hope. And then I'm
Oh,
about to start Aviator 2 with Blackstone, and it's a really fun modern warfare naval series. Later this year, I'm doing another series for Craig. It's a World War II naval
hmm
series called Strike. That'll be another 4 or 5 book project.
great.
Um,
So
yeah.
there's no lack of stuff to work on.
No,
Damn.
I'm booked out for the next few months. Like I'm feeling very happy. I'm very
Shit, man,
yeah.
you
I
you
feel very
you
lucky.
are running.
I'm doing
You're
okay.
running.
I'm doing
That's
okay.
so
Yeah.
great.
Then I've got 4 more of the God Chosen series for Athon, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah. Now, as a performer, I know it's like, oh God, don't typecast me. But
Bring it.
can I ask if there was like a specific, well, I guess genre or type of story that you wouldn't mind being slotted into more often than not? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Uh, Military stuff is a lot of fun. That's
Yeah.
I come from a military family. I was I didn't serve myself, but I'm really familiar with the military stuff, and I
Yeah.
love all the techno jargon and babble. I can do all of that.
Okay.
Sci-fi is a lot of fun. I have yet to do. You brought up the pot boiled detective stuff earlier. I have yet to do one of those, but I really want to. There's something about that
Yeah.
calls. I think I could do pretty well with that. But yeah, I'm still sort of in that position where I'll take the work as it comes, and then maybe a couple of years from now, I can be more selective on exactly what I want. But
Oh, okay. So um the way I look at a lot of these things is how many ratings you get on Audible, right?
mhm,
That's about the only information that's public.
yeah,
So I can go and look at my books that I've got under ACX, and I can look at the number of ratings and how good it's doing versus the number of copies sold, and I start to get a sense of, okay, so this is the ratio of people who actually read a rating or review to the number of people who actually buy the book, right, and consume it, whether they read it, return it, whatever, right? I mean, the amount of people that you get feedback from versus the amount of people who actually grab, it's like a sliver.
Oh, for sure.
But from that, you can kind of project, okay, this is the group of people that are jumping in there. So you've had some decent sized ones now.
Yeah, a few good ones. For sure.
You haven't had some X-Force, but
no, you've several ball fields away.
Right, but you're starting to kick a little ass here.
I'm feeling good about
it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the question is now, this isn't me like I'm curious what the strategy is for somebody who's in your spot. Do you continue to take, in your opinion, the lower stuff, like this is going to be 20 ratings, whatever, and it might sit at that for the next couple of years or something? Do you still take those projects, or do you now start to edit that out in a sense, protecting your brand now that you've got something and you're building it?
No, exactly. I'm trying to edit that out now. I'm in the winnowing phase, I think. Depending if Blackstone and Eighth want to keep working with me. That will tell me a lot.
Right.
Hopefully. Also, there's a natural winnowing when you start raising your per finished hour rate.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So some of the initial folks, it was all profit sharing kind of stuff. At some point, you just sort of, at least I am just going to stop doing that. Because it's a great way to build your name and get some experience and do that kind of thing. But unless there's enough help from the author to really market the hell out of the thing, it tends to be a money loser.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So you start working and then go to all per finished hour work, and then you start raising your rates on that. And some of the smaller stuff probably isn't going to be willing to pay that anymore anyway. So sort of a natural winnowing out that way too.
So the strategy then is money up front.
Guaranteed money at the end, basically. Like before, once it's, well, you know how it goes. I mean, once you sell it, then you get, once you're done with it and it's finished, then you get paid, then it goes on sale. Yeah, rather than waiting.
Yeah, I think it's weird. It really it probably depends on who's involved in the project too. Because I would imagine, just from my experience, if a bigger named author came and said, "Hey, let's just do something together on ACX, share profit,"
100%. I mean,
50-50. It's like, that's probably not a bad bet, right?
No, that's exactly it. Like if you ask me to do that, and I'm down for that, for someone of your stature. But some of the newer folks are just getting into it.
Right. Yeah, you pay me.
Exactly. Right. Happy to do it. Pay me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, for folks just starting out, it's profit share is a great way to go. You don't have to use your own name. You can take books you don't really want anything to do with at the end.
Yeah, right.
But you can practice it, right? You can stretch your muscle. You can try some things out. You can do some gnarly shit. But it's never attached to you. But you'll still get the practice in doing it, which is really worth a lot of money at the very
you build
beginning.
Those muscles probably, right?
Exactly. Yeah. 100%.
That's great. Now, the next question could be getting into the personal, and I don't want to go anywhere that's too right. So
I'll push back if it gets too.
Exactly. You tell me to go to hell if you want. But can I ask, is it at a point now where it's paying the bills better than what you were doing before, like chef?
No, not even close.
Not there yet.
No,
okay.
No.
All right.
Not close yet. Ask me in a year.
Okay.
Hopefully
but we're building that, and in the meantime, wife has your back, and go kill it, right?
That's exactly it. Yeah. It works. Yeah, it just works out, and I have to sort of wake up every morning and kick myself that I'm in this position, that I
I'm
get to do this.
I'm so glad you're in this position. This
Thank you,
is
man. Appreciate that.
fantastic, dude.
Thank
It's
you.
really great.
I'm having a hell of a time. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of fun. It's
Yeah.
the most fulfilling thing I've ever done, aside from have kids and all the other things you're supposed to say. But
Eh,
but
kids
it's
make you bald.
as tell me about it. Uh, but as work goes, it's about as fulfilling as I think I'd be able to do. And without Jane, my wife, it would never have happened.
Okay, and now that you bring that up, okay,
Sure.
so now I want to get into
And
some
now we're getting personal. Okay, do it.
Oh, no. I think probably that question, questions of how well is it paying for you, without numbers. That's about as personal as I'm willing to get, and
Cool.
it's really just an interest from a business standpoint,
Sure.
right? If somebody thinks they want to be a narrator,
Mhm.
yeah, even with you're starting to build successes. There's still a road to travel to
Oh,
get to a
so
point
long.
where it's like, yeah, I got this. Now financially and all the shit that goes with it, I'm where I was when I got off that last career track.
Mhm.
And then, what's beyond that? I think it helps to put a reasonable expectation in people's heads who might want to follow in your footsteps,
Mm. That's great.
hopefully,
That's great.
rather than, because it's like your early success it's impressive and it's phenomenal for a lot of reasons. It's like, just
Thank you.
somebody decides, oh, I think I'm just going to get into the narration business. And it's like you said, there's a glut now of performers that are trying to get gigs. And you're at a point where it's like, okay, you get to say names like Blackstone and Athon.
Yeah.
Uh,
I still get a
and,
little
and and
thrill
just
every time I
drop
see
it
that.
like that, like, oh yeah, I got a project going with those guys now. And that's a heady sensation. It's
It really
exciting,
is. Yeah.
but it's like people still they need to understand. It's like, okay, still that's a ton of success. There's still building to be done.
So
If
much.
if you're serious about this and you want this to be a career, uh, it I'm speaking from this personally too, because having the success I did with the first, you know 5 books or whatever that I put out, it tends to put an unrealistic expectation in your head of how things work
Yeah.
and what goes down. And I think you probably feel the same way. I feel lucky as hell for getting hooked up with Athon,
Oh my God. Yes.
because Rhett and Steve actually do know the business, and it's like,
Yeah.
I can ask them a question. We have these discussions all the time where I say, well, what if we did this? Would this work? Does this make sense? And it's not like story. They don't they don't give a shit about what my stories are. They're just like, oh, he writes stuff and it does well. So yeah, come on, guy, right? Uh, Steve, I think, knows some of my stories because he's done some editing for me.
Cool.
But for the most part, it's like, hey, he gels with us. We like working with him,
Sure.
and we don't lose money if we work with him. That's a business relationship,
Yeah.
right?
Totally. Yes.
And even so, I feel really lucky that because I can ask them, and I trust them enough
Mhm.
so that I can have that kind of discussion with them and not think, okay, they're going to use ignorance against me later and screw me, because they won't.
No, they're
I've
good
seen some
guys.
of the other offers that other folks are putting out there, and it's like, oh, I'm doing pretty good here. I'll
Yeah.
just stay right here. you know?
Yeah, and it's made even better the fact that they can be choosy. Like they can only work with who they want to work with. They don't have to work with
Yeah,
anybody. So the fact that we're working with someone who can afford to be choosy and still be very successful, it's
yeah.
sort of a
It's pretty.
yeah, it's kind of a rarefied air. It's
It's
crazy. I don't know how the
amazing
hell
to
we're doing
see.
this.
It's amazing to see the amount of progress they've made since they started.
Yeah,
God, I remember, like, right when they launched, I was like one of the first guys that hooked up with
that's
them
right. That's right.
when they
That's right.
got going, and it was really just because I saw that Rhett on, like, first of all, I saw them just kind of posting in all of our groups.
Yeah.
Hey, we're starting up this publishing concern. We're looking for. Uh, they weren't even looking for like me. as a writer, like my kind of writing. We're looking for people in lit RPG and some of this because we want to fill out these genres. We think there's a lot of growth here.
Yeah.
And I kind of talked to Bob, and I said, because he was the guy that would give me all the insider shit, right? And I said, hey man, you know what you think about these Athon guys? Are they legit or are they bullshit? And he's like, no, that's Red Bruno running the thing. And I was like, oh, Red. Oh, okay, shit. So, then I reached out to Red and I was like, hey dude, what do you think? And they were like, oh yeah, dude.
That's awesome.
Come in.
Is that when you had to pull Commune down and then get it redone? I remember that.
Because
recover or something.
Yeah, we were talking about those books and future stuff. Cool. A lot of the things that I had written I was basically done and in between projects when I hooked up with them. And I said, look, I've got these ideas for a lot of stories going forward. I've got no shortage of ideas. I've got probably like 10 different projects planned out.
That's so cool.
And would you like to work on those with me? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. And let me see. There was part of that was they took on the traditional and ebook publishing for the Commune series, and then all gifts bestowed as well. Well, yeah, I'm not going to go into the details of who kept what, but they basically helped relaunch that as a successful ebook title, versus before it was me, and I was kind of managing that. So I had like audiobook sales that were like up here, and then I had like crickets down in the ebook. Like there's no overlap between those two markets at all, almost.
No, I was talking with another Jeremy, that author I work with on a regular basis. He was going through the same thing. His audiobooks are going bejeebers, but he can't sell ebooks for the life of him. Which I don't know how to help with that.
Yeah, that was originally why I hooked up with Athon. I was like, look, I can sell audiobooks all day. I don't have a problem there. Mm-hmm. I need someone to help me figure out this ebook shit. Like I clearly don't have what it takes to make this successful. And they were like, oh, yeah, we do. And yeah, man, like everything they put out just goes to number one on Amazon's charts. So it's like, oh,
awesome. That's
I'm just going to stick with these guys then. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of, I do not read often in the genre that I write. I read a bunch of old stuffy shit.
Oh, why is that?
Because that's what interests me.
Okay.
That's I don't know. That's just always what I've I got. Like I got my whole thing behind me here, right? I've got. Let me see. Come here.
I see your Harry Potter over there.
Yeah, that's the wife got me into that. A lot of those are her books. She's got a shit ton of Twilight over here too. She really, oh yeah, she loves the romance novels, man. Whenever a lot of times when I'll do a live stream, people see those books and they're like, are those Twilight novels in Gayou's office? It's like, yeah, they are. They're my wife's. But no, I've got stodgy shit, man. I've got Leo Tolstoy. I've got Herman Melville and Steinbeck and Hemingway and a bunch of pretentious bullshit.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I've got.
Is that just for looks, or you actually read it?
No, I've read all these.
That's awesome.
Here's can you see the?
Iliad, Odyssey, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I didn't just put that shit in the book because I thought it was cool, man.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's a lot of what I tend to read.
Got it.
And
how do you feel that influences how you write, or does it, or do you keep them in two separate kind of boxes?
No, drastically, man. If you're gonna be influenced by something, you might as well let it be the best stuff out there. If I'm going to take the work of others to set up as my role model, let it be the masters. I don't want to chase after. I can't off the top of my head think of a name that's safe to denigrate because they're not in our circle. So I'm not going to say anything.
Probably
But
safe.
there's writers out there who have certainly they've got their craft figured out. They got their business figured out. They have learned how to put out a product, which I have nothing bad to say
Mhm.
about that at all. People want to create art in the way that seems best to them. They also need to pay the bills and keep the lights on.
Mhm.
So in whatever way they have found that works for them, I salute it. And I think it's wonderful. It doesn't mean that that's the kind of story that's going to hold my interest.
Totally.
So that's just how I am. Sometimes I get guys that really stand out and wow me. Keith Blackmore's one of them.
Yeah, he's
The Mountain Men series completely. That the Commune series would not exist without the Mountain Men series
really. Why is that?
because I could have written Commune in any setting I wanted to,
Mhm.
and it didn't have to be post-apocalyptic. Uh, all I needed to do was come up with any setting that allowed me to take people in a barren. I could have created a sci-fi environment very easily
Mhm.
that essentially had commune in it and change up some of the words and some of the descriptions of the places, and it
Mhm.
would have worked. It would have been totally fine.
Mhm.
Who knows if it would have been as successful as it was on its own or the way it was, but I could have done that.
Yeah.
But Blackmore really showed me something. He showed me that you can take a setting that may seem played out or cliched, overdone, but you can take that and you can really turn it into something special. Um, like that was kind of what I thought about Commune. It was like, fuck, you know what? Okay, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to take something that typically, if you look at what's available on the market, what's out there,
Mhm.
read a lot of it. A lot of it's fast food.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It is.
It is.
But I wanted to take something that was fast food. Like people thought they were going to get fast food. Somebody went down to McDonald's and thought they were going to get a Big Mac, right? And I wanted to into their bag, I wanted to slip them a filet mignon
Yeah.
and then just hand it to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if I did that. Okay, I don't. I did the best I could. I took the best swing at it that I could. But
Narrator. Yes, he did. He did do it.
well, I'll say the narrator certainly helped. But and it's like if I went back and looked at the first, it's clunky as hell, that first
Eh.
book. Yeah, but that was my first book. Um, but well, I guess that's all I'll say on it.
It.
I was I was trying to take what I'd learned from these guys
Sure.
and put something more into the story that was just bang bang stab stab.
I can tell you from experience that I don't think my joke played very well in that Arrested Development narrator thing, but
No.
it
I get what
absolutely
you were
you did
saying.
get it. Okay. It absolutely I mean it worked. Yes. I was expecting another post-apocalyptic, maybe zombie, who the hell knows. But it's way more than that.
Yeah, and that's why I said like I was inspired by Blackmore. I was like, oh, okay, uh, this is what you can do with this stuff. You can take popcorn and you can turn it into something that is hopefully something special
Mhm.
for the listener or the reader. And I've tried to continue writing books in that fashion. So and I think sometimes I think it pisses people off
Why?
because I think sometimes people just want a Big Mac.
There's plenty of Big Macs out there.
No, but I know. But
You can get one of those.
sometimes people just want a Big Mac. That's just this.
There's
Sometimes you want
Yep.
shit. Sometimes you want fast food.
There's nothing
No, I'm
wrong
not
with
going
it.
to say shit. I'm not going to say shit. It's sometimes you just want fast food, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So and there's people, they get in there and you can see them too. Oh man, the first and second commune books were fantastic. The third and fourth were garbage. I couldn't get into it. It's like that's cool.
Who the hell
You
said that?
wanted. Oh yeah, there's plenty of people that say that.
I didn't see that.
There's not as much as that of them, I think, as the people who enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
mean, you look at the ratings and it's kind of lopsided.
Yeah.
People who disliked, small sliver. Good, I did my job. I entertained someone.
Totally.
But every once in a while you get someone's like, oh, there's a bunch of shit that's not explained, or it's just lazy storytelling because he didn't like fill in these blanks for me, and it's like, okay, you
There were
wanted
a
the run
lot of
and gun.
people who wanted to know who Jake was.
Yeah, you came
what he
here
was
looking
before. Yeah.
you came here looking for the run and gun, and I didn't give that to you. I understand you feel duped.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Don't buy my books later. Protect yourself.
Oh, it's too bad for them, but more for us, I guess.
Well, I'm shit. I mean, I don't know who it's bad for. Hey, let me ask you that. That's actually a good question. Shit, let's get this talk back to you, please.
Okay.
So now you've gotten out there.
Mm-hmm.
You've gotten out there in front of a good number of people.
Yep.
So how do you deal with your negative reviews, man? I know you've seen one by now. You've gotten one. So how do you like it, man? What do you think?
If it was my first experience with that kind of thing, I'd be taken aback. But I can tell you from experience, Yelp and restaurants, you just learn to tune that shit out, man. I've gotten so many bad, like off-color, just ridiculous, nonsensical bad reviews that make you go, did you actually eat at my restaurant? Because it doesn't seem like it. But none of that bothers me anymore. I get disappointed because I want the listener to have as good a time listening to it as I had reading it. I feel bad for them that they didn't appreciate it for whatever reason. Like if someone says, I guess I do listen to these. I had someone say I'm on chapter 11 and there's just all talk. It's like, well, it's a fucking audiobook. What do you expect this to be? It's gonna be talk. It's not a video game.
I hate the stupid dialogue that exposes the characters' inner workings and lets me know who they are.
Exactly.
Damn it.
Yeah, so I don't understand that. I don't, but
no shooting and tits. Less emotion, monsters, and
exactly. Give me the zombies and the bullets. I don't want what they're thinking. I don't know. So yeah, I feel bad for them, I guess. Maybe that's that they bought something they weren't expecting.
Yeah.
How that happens, I don't know, but it does, I guess. But so I feel bad for him, but I don't take him personally in any way. And if there's any narrators getting into this and listening to this, you don't read them. You just don't. If you see, just F them. It doesn't matter what they think. It matters what you think. And the author thinks. Whoever's paying you, it matters what they think.
I think so. Yeah. My experience with that when the first comic book came out, there was that initial glut of Bray fans that were just kind of like whatever he did because it's Bray. Yeah. There are those folks who were like, I'll read the phone book or I'll listen to you reading the phone book, right?
Yeah. We've all been there.
He always, he rolls his eyes like, oh man, I've never heard that before at all. Every once in a while, I'll fuck around with him. I'll send him like a text and say, hey man, I'd listen to you read the phone book. You know that? And shut the fuck up. But
how do you deal with it?
Those first reviews came in and like everything was like 5 stars, super positive. Oh my God, this book, I've never seen anything like this book before. And man, the whole time my head's going, man, I'm going to be the first writer in history to never get a negative review on this book. This is amazing.
How'd that work out for you?
I'm so good that nobody's gonna. What's that? That first 1 star pops up and they just eviscerate you and leave your entrails out on the floor.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's like you were like. I wish they'd print the guy's name. I feel like he knows me. It's like I hate that writer. He's the one who peed on my lawn.
Oh boy.
That's why I'm ripping him apart. Man, some of them. They write reviews like you came over to their house and just disrespected like
their mama. Yeah, exactly. Slap my mom across the face.
No, man. And then I think shortly after that was kind of when I realized, oh, these aren't for me.
Yeah.
These are for other readers. And there's going to be some people out there who have valid criticisms. And there have been. I don't want to give off the impression that all of the criticisms of my books are unfounded. They certainly have grounds. There's been ones that I've looked at and I was like, yeah, you got a point there. I boned that. I did. and I agree. And I think there's a certain amount of, I don't know what I would call it. Awareness,
Mhm.
self-awareness. You need to be terrified of developing an ego,
That's a good way
because
of putting it. Yeah.
at some point you'll be so convinced that your shit doesn't stink that you'll just start making really dumb decisions.
Yeah.
And I mean decisions in story, or in your case, performance.
Mhm.
You have to look for the useful criticism because it is out there,
Sure.
and there's people saying intelligent things.
Absolutely.
It's buried in a sea of stupidity, but it's out there. But that was, it's kind of like one of those things where I realized, okay, uh, there's a lot of wackadoos that are leaving just goofy shit.
Yeah.
So they're the same ones who they'll go to Amazon, buy a kitchen knife, and then leave a 1-star review because they cut themselves with it because it
Exactly.
was too sharp. It's like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of take heart in the fact that the kind of people that I would like to read my books,
Mhm.
they see those reviews for what they are. my dog.
Is he okay? Paycheck okay?
Oh no, that was the other one,
Oh,
Steps.
the other one. Steps.
Yeah, her name is Steps because she had a busted leg when I got her out of the pound. And she just kind of hobbled around. But the people that I'm writing to,
Mhm.
you ever watched Mystery Science Theater 3000 back in
Of
the day?
course. Yeah. Yeah.
So I loved that show.
Yeah.
Joel Hodgson was my guy. Mike is okay, but I remember seeing an interview with those guys one time where they were saying you got this show going and it's a hit. How did that work out? And they said there was points where they'd be sitting around and they'd be watching the movie and just writing jokes. And somebody would, like, one of the writers would, they were all buddies that just liked watching shitty movies together.
Yeah.
One of the guys looks over and he says, "Who's gonna get these jokes, man? They're really inside." And the other guy looks at him and he says, "Man, the right people will get them.
Nice.
The right people are going to get these jokes." And that's kind of what I've thought to myself since the beginning of these things. There's a certain person that I'm writing to out there. And that's also going to be the person that sees the reviews by the wackadoos and says, "Yeah, okay, that's that guy. It doesn't matter." And the ones that I really pay attention to, that I listen to, they're the ones in my little Facebook group, my my crowd of, I don't know, it's like 1,500 people, but there's 1,500 people that have kind of like joined up, but it's, there's a small selection of that actually
Active
participates.
stuff. Yeah.
Yes, but they're very vocal on their ideas about shows, story, content, what they think works, what they think doesn't work. And that's just free research to me because I get to sit in there and interact with them, and made friends with some of them, made friends with yourself, and watch them interact, and I get to learn about what interests them and what inspires them, and like, that's all food.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that's all stuff that you can kind of consume. So, okay, so you listen to those people, you listen to the important ones.
Yeah.
And that's been fine for me, and I kind of ignore all the other shit. I go every once in a while, I'll send an email over to Rhett and just say, "Hey, how's it doing?" "Oh, it's good. Send you a check pretty soon." "Oh, okay."
That's the important stuff.
And as long as that's working out, as long as they're still moving, that core people that I think are the right people are telling me, "Yeah, what you're doing is still correct," then I feel like I'm doing my job.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. This is trusted people rather
Yeah.
than internet randos who just want to throw fire at people to make themselves feel better.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like a vetting, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't know who's out there. You don't. It's like they talk about the Russian bots and
Oh yeah. Yeah.
that are lighting up Twitter and all that shit. It's like you don't know who's out there. You don't know Jesus. Oh, what's
Was that
going on?
was that steps or paycheck?
I think they've gotten into my closet and they're dragging socks everywhere.
Fun for you. Fun cleanup later.
Yeah, I give up with these dogs. I'll go out and address the damage. But no, they could be kooks. They could be total psychopaths. You don't know what's going on with them. You don't know if they're depressed.
Right. Having a bad day and taking it out on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of that.
They could be trolls. So you can't chase that.
Right.
You have to you have to decide what's the thing that matters and then just chase that. And all the other shit is just noise. And you just let it go. Go by the wayside.
That's the really hard part of all of this is you have to believe in yourself and what you're doing to such an extent that you still allow yourself to be vulnerable, even to those people who you know are just going to throw fire at you to take it out on you.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to find a way to, not think about that, not worry about that, but you have to still stick with it. You still got to go sit in front of a computer for 4, 6, 8, 10 hours a day, or sit in a closet and talk into a microphone to yourself for 4, 6 hours a day. Every day.
That, in that aspect of what you and I do is very similar.
Yeah.
There's no feedback. There's no audience. You're operating in isolation and hoping that what you're doing is correct. And then you have to wait until later.
Exactly.
To get some kind of feedback and have someone let you know, yeah, that was either good or you missed the mark.
Yeah.
And by then, like once you're out of that moment or once you finally get that feedback, you're a completely different person now.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't even have made those same choices before that you would now. So it's like, fuck, how do I apply that?
That's a really good point. Yeah. Yeah. It helps to know if you have the characterizations down, I guess. At least on my side, it's you're working on the thing, you find who you think the character is and what feels good, and you're in that sort of groove and you're finding the beats and all the things. And then afterwards the author says, that's not how I saw that person at all.
Well, so how closely do you work with writers when you're doing a project? Is it like continual feedback or?
No. I'm going to do the thing. I'll send it to you when I'm done, and then you can tell me what it is. If I sent every chapter out, and for sure authors want me to do this, but if I sent every chapter back out, well, first of all, you have to do the whole thing so that you can edit the whole thing, proofread the whole thing, make sure the continuity's there, and then master the whole thing so it all sounds the same.
Yeah.
Because if you do it chapter by chapter, you're going to have just wild fluctuations in what this chapter sounds like.
Yeah.
This one does.
Quality will just be all over the place. Huh?
Oh, yeah. You can't do that. So, no, you do the whole thing and then you send it and you just hope for the best. But doing the due diligence ahead of time solves a lot of that problem. Whereas, like, I want character breakdowns. I'm going to discuss with you what you feel this character is. What kind of background am I looking at? Where they come from? Maybe where their parents came from.
So
all those kind of things.
Will you discuss it with a writer in real time? Like you'll have a call like you and I are having now and talk it out? Or is it all email? Or how does that go?
Weirdly, all email.
Okay.
I've worked with Craig DeLuey for over a year now, and I talked to him on the phone for the very first time yesterday. Jeremy, who I do all the sci-fi books for, we've never spoken in person ever.
Wow.
It's all been Facebook messaging and emailing. It's just part of the modern world, I guess.
Yes.
It's not as necessary. It would be awesome, but I mean, not
so
necessary.
Your preference would be more access to the writer.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Especially ahead of time so that there aren't issues we have to go back. So an example and a good example, I did a book called The Next Best Thing. The author's name is Wiley, and it was so good. It's something he's been working on he worked on this thing for at least 10, maybe 15, 20 years. It's one of these books where he picked it up and put it down, finally finished it. It's back his magnum opus book that he's always wanted to write. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I fucked up one of the characters.
Oh,
but
okay.
I didn't realize till afterwards. He saw this female character as older, more mature. I saw her as younger and more naive. That's two entirely different voices. So I had to go back because you got to give the author what he wants. He's the one paying you, right? And it's their vision. You want the author to be happy. I'm not going to take chances on what you have spent 20 years writing I want you to get what you're paying for and what you asked. So I went back and re-recorded all of her lines, and she's one of the two leads in the book. It was a humongous task to do. And if I had done better due diligence at the beginning, that wouldn't have been necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, what is it? Measure twice, cut once?
Yes, exactly. I did not do that. I measured 1.5 times and sort of fudged it a little bit.
Yeah, it's about 1/8 of an inch.
Exactly. We'll sand
No,
it
it's
down.
a
It'll be
quarter.
fine. Wood filler.
Yeah.
It's all good. Starting strength. Is that something you've done, or did you look it up and then find it?
No, of course I've done it.
That's awesome.
I'm running that with my son right now. He
No
just
shit.
he got a huge PR yesterday. His first body weight back squat. He squatted 205 pounds
Holy shit.
at 14 years old.
Get out of here.
Yeah, and then right after that, he pulled 225 pounds in a deadlift.
That's amazing. That's fantastic. That's cool. I'd never heard of it before that, but now I'm like super interested.
Yeah, no, I don't have it here because I used it to construct his novice program. I'm gonna once they get back, I'm gonna shift him over to something that's got more of a progression. I've got the book downstairs, man.
That's awesome.
I've read the thing. I've written Mark Ripito and told him, hey, I mentioned your book in my book series, man.
Is he happy about that? I hope.
Yeah. I told him I did that because I got something very positive from your books and the things that you've put out, and I wanted to just and thank you. That's very nice of you. But yeah, that's a real thing. It's good. I've followed it. It'll make you really strong real quick, and it'll get you ready for intermediate lifting.
Okay.
Rapidly. That was before I was really big into writing. I just as a hobby. I never competed, not once. I was never interested in competing, but I was pursuing powerlifting. Quite crazily.
That's amazing.
Like through a good portion of my 30s.
That's cool.
I
really cool.
do it now to keep up my general strength and health, because if I'm going to live to an old age, I would like to still be able to pull myself off the toilet.
Yes, I get that.
But yeah, it's God, what did I do the other day? I've deloaded this week. I'm taking it easy on myself. Last week I'm squatting in the 340s, 350s now.
Holy shitballs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not the heaviest I've ever been. I used to be quite a monster.
That's amazing.
But right now it's well, I'm in my 40s now, so I'll do a heavy deadlift and I can feel my back going, "What? Stop it. Fucking idiot. What are you doing?"
I get that.
Yeah,
I don't lift, but I swim a lot, and I get that way when I hit around 2 miles. I'm like, you got to fucking knock this off now because your shoulders are gonna fall off.
Oh yeah, man. I can. I used to. I'd throw 400 pounds on my back, and I didn't care. I'd squat it.
God damn.
Yeah, man. There we go. And now I can feel it, man. I get right at about 300 pounds, 350 pounds. I get that across my shoulders, and I walk it out, and I could just tell it's like, man, hold this shit tight. If you make one wrong move or you slew just a little bit, that's it for your back, buddy.
No pressure at all.
Oh man, I could feel it, like all my vertebrae are like I'm just like, oh, just hold together a little bit, god damn it.
Do you have one of those upside down like inversion tables you can stretch yourself back out again afterwards?
No. I'll do a lot of stretching and try to do stuff to keep limber and all that. That seems to work pretty good. But I'm bored by normal exercise. I need something that's kind of hard. Like I like to, if it involves heavy shit and getting it off the ground, I seem to be interested in it.
That's cool. That scene between Wong and Jake, where Jake's introducing him to starting strength for the first time, that felt like your voice. It was awesome, Jake's voice, but I could like hear you coming through that when Jake's saying, just Look, it's a thing. You just have to do it this way. Just do it.
Yeah.
Fucking, I couldn't stop laughing. It was so funny. It's like, I
Yeah,
don't know. It's a whole system. You just got to do it.
yeah, just do this. Just don't. Yeah, I remember that. And that was, well, honestly, that wasn't my voice so much as it was Mark Ripito speaking through me.
Got it.
Because I'd heard him say shit like that before. It's like, you get these young men full of testosterone into your gym, and as a trainer, and like if you like search out some of Ripito, he's got content on YouTube and stuff where he talks about his philosophy of, why is strength important. It's a whole, like, this guy is like the Sun Tzu of our barbells. Okay, it's something that he thinks about constantly. That's his life's mission. Is to make people strong.
Cool.
As efficiently as he can.
All right.
And that was just one of those things. You get these young bucks. He's from Texas. You get these young bucks into your gym. Guys like that. They come in and they do their fives, and they'll get some weight and move it, and then they get excited, and then they want to do some more sets. They want to put some more weight on it, and they want. It's like they get pumped, and it's like no. This is the program, all right? You follow this program. If you do other things, you're gonna fuck it up. Don't do that. This is what you do. You follow this. And it's like, I've had those same conversations with my son. We've been at it for, like a month and a half, I think. He's doing homeschooling right now. Because pandemic.
Yeah.
And
so fun.
His school wasn't, they were not equipped to go to this, everybody stays at home thing. So I said, all right, fuck it. Pull him out of there. I'm going to put him into a real homeschooling program that's been doing this for like a couple of decades. They know how to do this stuff already.
That's a great idea.
So yeah, we got him into that. I mean, he's thriving. He's on the honor roll.
Congratulations.
Which is great. But part of that, even though he's at home, there's a physical education component in there. You got to do some sort of PE.
Yeah.
And I respected the hell out of him because he came to me and he was like, listen, if I got to do this PE stuff, because first it was like, I go out and play some basketball, go skate on your skateboard. That's physical activity. We'll take some credit for that. He says, look, if I'm going to be getting credit for PE, it might as well be worth something. He says, I got barbells and all the plates and shit. And I've got all these strongman implements that I, used to use. And sometimes I'll pull them out and use them anyway. He says, if I wanted to go downstairs and use your weights, would you be okay with that? And, the answer obviously is no, not on your own, because you can do something really fucking stupid and hurt yourself. But I was like, oh man, my son's 14. I don't have a lot of time left with him in this house with me. I thought, here's an opportunity. I said, hey, you know what? I'll be your PE teacher. I coach you now. And it's been such a blessing to have that. This whole year, fucking pandemic, destroying lives and is warped and disgusting as it feels to say it. This year has been such a blessing to me. I've gotten time with my family that I never counted on getting.
Yeah.
And time that I've gotten to spend with my son that I didn't think I was going to have. And, this has been one of those things. Like every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, lunchtime comes around. It's time for, dad to step away from the computer and relax a bit. Come on, kid, we're going to hit some iron. And, like a month and a half ago, we started, he was squatting like 60 pounds. And yesterday he hit 205 with perfect depth and form. It was beautiful.
Outstanding.
And he was, man, cool. You could see the look in his eyes too. He was, he was pumped, man.
I love that excitement. I have an 11-year-old son as well that I share with.
Oh, fantastic! Okay. Tell me about your kids. You've got the one girl, right?
Sure. Yeah. Charlotte. She's 3. I only have 2, and then my son who I share with my ex-wife. But we're both in Seattle, in West Seattle, so he goes back and forth. I see him every week, and also working from home and blah 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 blah, same as everybody else. But we had the same sort of conversation around PE. He's in a PE class at school, but it involves him learning about PE basically and
Yeah,
what
it's
kind of
just
sports. Like, how is
like
this
bookwork.
physical?
It's
Yeah,
terrible.
exactly. Go do some yoga. Not against yoga. Yoga's fine. I want him doing more than just yoga.
I wish I could do yoga.
Ha,
Seriously, I mean
yeah,
that's that's a level of body suppleness and control that I simply do not have.
yeah.
I've fucked myself up too much putting heavy shit on my back.
Oh, yeah. That'd be tough.
Yeah.
But he wanted to do more than that. So I used to box. So I'm give him boxing lessons every week.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, it's fun. But same
That's
same kind of thing, just like things that he learns, and he's on the smaller side. He's a smaller kid,
yeah.
and so I want him, to be able to like, you know, understand his surroundings and like handle himself if he gets into a situation and stuff. Nothing major, obviously, but just seeing where he goes from like
Footwork and
A
head
to
movement, man.
C. Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
the
I mean,
the,
if you
the
guys
footing
just
alone took several months.
run some drills and hit the bag together. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
He's
What
got
a great
gloves and I've got mitts and the whole thing. So we're
yeah.
doing combinations and we're getting into a little jujitsu, which I used to do. And then my dad
Amazing.
was a police officer my entire childhood. So I have his baton. So we're getting into
Mhm.
baton work too, just for fun.
Do you have a heavy bag?
I don't have a heavy bag. I don't
Oh.
have room for a heavy bag. I'm the heavy bag.
Ah,
So I just have me in the mitts. So it's like, all right, lay on. So we're
that
getting into
was
kicks and I get down, like use my mitts and he gets me there. So as soon as there's
that was
room, heavy bag.
I had a heavy bag in high school.
Oh, I love those things.
And it was yeah, it was my parents were so cool. They just let me hang it outside
Awesome.
from the deck over the patio.
Yeah.
And man, what a great thing for a young teenage man
Yep.
to
I just.
have
Yep.
working all that bullshit out of your system and just
Yep.
going to town on that thing. Constructive redirection of negative energy.
It's a real good way of putting it.
Yeah, well,
Or
I mean, I
otherwise known
love
as hit the shit. Yes.
I love hearing about what you're doing with your son though. That's
Thank you.
man. How old's your son?
He's 11. He turns 12 in May.
11. Yeah, man. Yeah.
He's getting
Well,
a
I had
shave for his birthday because it's just starting to come in a little bit.
my son as well. My son as well. I don't have to tell you, man. Just get every bit of it that you can. Just
Oh, yeah.
enjoy as much as you can, man.
Absolutely.
The other day, man, I was having this conversation with him at one point, and I kind of laid it out for him so he could understand because we saw a picture of him as a little kid in a Halloween costume or something, and his mom and I started, you know,
Yeah, I do.
and he looks at me like, "What is your problem? I'm right here." It's, why are you acting like that? And I said, "Okay, here's something that you have to understand. So, sit down." He sits down. Tell my wife, go away, because I don't want her to start bawling. So she goes upstairs. Okay, here's how it is. For you, you've always been you. As far as you know, you're you. You woke up one day when you were 3 years old. Maybe you start remembering right around then. Maybe a little bit sooner. You're Anthony. You 5 years old, 6 years old. You're into Legos, maybe some Ninja Turtles and other shit. But in the morning you wake up, you're Anthony. Today, now, when you wake up, you're into skateboarding, you're thinking about saving up for a car, you'd like to have a job so you can have some disposable income, you play shit tons of games, but in the morning, when you wake up, you're Anthony. He says, okay, all right. Now, for your mom and me, there's a small person that we remember that doesn't exist on this earth anymore. It's almost as like we had one kind of child. And it's not like they died, because you're right here. We still have you. But there's something and someone that you used to be that no longer exists. And while you were here like that, you made this world happy in a certain way. And now that's gone. You know?
Yeah.
And I told him that, and he was like, while I was explaining it, like I'm getting emotional just talking about it.
Yeah, I'm getting emotional hearing about
But I explained that to him, and he was like, like when I got done, he goes,
it.
that sucks, Dad. And I was like, yeah, I know. And, at some point, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. You're going to have
Yeah.
this exact same conversation with your son. I hope I'm here to see it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's also they were that small last week. That's the other part.
Yeah,
They were
that
just this yesterday,
yeah,
and now there's a young
the
man that's
passage
suddenly
the
growing a
passage
mustache.
of time and our perception of it.
Yeah.
It's like right now for you, a year feels like forever. Fuck. I just lost 5 and I don't know where they went.
Exactly. Yeah, I get
5
that.
minutes ago, it was 10 years ago, and I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
that,
don't know.
what is it, that existential angst, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're a teenager, and it's like, oh man, I've got my entire life ahead of me. And then there's like you hit a halfway point. Like I'm 42. Half of it's behind me now.
Yeah,
And
I get you.
that went by fast.
Yeah.
And the second half, although no instant of this is guaranteed at all, the second half is even less guaranteed than the first half I just got.
And it's gonna go by faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm 45. I totally get where
yeah,
you're coming from.
there's a certain age where that shit really sinks in, and I think for me it wasn't 40. 40 I was fine, but I think like around 41 I should have gone, wait a minute. You know,
Yeah.
it's
No, I
not like a
totally get that.
midlife crisis. I think for me, in my case, it's a weird kind of at this age, I kind of got everything that I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
or well, I'll say the shit that I've been driving for my entire life,
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of happened at once. It was like 2017, 2018. My career as an engineer
Mm-hmm.
had really settled in. I had achieved a senior position, really high position of prominence and respect at my company, which comes with the price tag. Let me tell you.
Sure.
And then at the same time, a writing career also takes off and uh, does as well for my family as the engineering job. Uh,
That's amazing.
it
That's
well,
so amazing.
I mean, it's cool, but if if you can't find something to keep you interested after that happens, you're in deep shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
and
if
that's terrifying. It's
yeah,
terrifying.
you get to a point where it's like, oh fuck, I got everything now. Now what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that scene in Fight Club.
Yeah.
I
Which
graduated
one?
high school, Dad. What do I do? I don't know. Go to college. All right, Dad. I went to college. Got a degree. Now what do I do? I don't know. Get a job. It's that next step right after that. Dad,
Yeah.
I'm successful now. I've achieved all the things that I was supposed to achieve, and I've actually gone further than most people have a right to expect in their lives. Now what do I do? My dad doesn't know what to tell me because he never got this far. Now he just looks at me and says, "Fuck, I don't know. Don't screw it up."
That's
I'm
funny.
I'm over here like,
Yeah.
how?
Go write 5 more commune books with
Oh,
Devin C. Ford.
I don't know.
That's awesome. I'm so happy for you, man. That's
I
and
appreciate that,
so
and
great.
yeah, there's a word beyond appreciation that I'm feeling right now just from our conversation. Uh, this will be the part where the writer gets overly emotional and stupid. But I've had a few of these and a few other things, and fucks will not be given. I've really enjoyed our conversation.
Me
I
too.
feel like
Me too.
we're in a position of good friendship here. I,
I
I
agree.
there's still a lot that I don't know about you. There's the whole lifetime of experiences. Yeah,
We have time. We have time to get
yeah.
there.
I probably still don't know you that well, but I get the sense that you're a really good dude, man, and
Thank you.
um, I could not be more pleased for your budding success. And I know it must be wild for you right now,
Yeah.
because things are
Yeah, it
starting to
is.
happen. Um, and all I can say to you at this point, if I could be permitted a moment of once again being a boorish asshole,
Oh, please.
uh, just keep your head down, keep grinding, dude,
I will.
because you got that traction now. Now all you got to do is build on it, and you keep cracking away, and you keep coming at it with the same attitude that you've had, where you can take the knocks and fuck it, I'm going to keep going anyway, and I predict bigger things for you. I think it's going to go very well.
I appreciate that very much, and this has been a complete honor talking to you and going through all
Oh,
the.
fuck honor.
I just shut the fuck up.
I
It is
I've
my
enjoyed
honor to
your
talk to you
company
about
immensely.
this.
It's been very fun.
I've had a blast. We certainly went into places I didn't think we were gonna go, which is always better.
Well, that's what I would hope, man. Yeah, I've never once like prepared for one of these things by like writing down questions and shit.